All right, y'all, welcome back to another Real Estate 2020. Today, I've got royalty here. So Jamie Tian is finishing up her presidency, or Madam Presidency, or I guess it's Madam Presidency, of ARIA, which is the Asian Realtor Association, or it stands for something completely different, the actual acronyms, but that's the gist of it, right?
Yes, Asian Real Estate Association of America.
There we go. There we go. Which is a big to do. I mean, everybody that I know that has held that seat is big time, and you're included. So, how's that been? I mean, that's part of our questions, but like, how have you changed since taking something on a national stage like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been quite an honor. I kind of got dropped right into it because I served 2 years. So originally I was supposed to serve as the vice president first and then serve as the president, obviously 1 year each. But the president before me had to kind of step out at the last minute. So I stepped in a year early. So I wasn't really prepared yet at the
Yeah,
time. But, I kind of took it as it went. And it was kind of like it was a blessing in disguise as well, because I think a lot of the times, it takes a few months to adjust to becoming president. And that
right.
year goes by really fast once you get through the gala season, all the installations, a couple events, and then the year's over. So it really helped me kind of get the reign of things, like really get to know the staff and who I'm working with, all the leaders, and I
Yeah.
feel like we were able to accomplish more over 2 years. But definitely, it's been a growing experience for me for sure. I mean, I think like number one, just like improving my leadership skills.
Yeah.
Before I've taken on a various number of leadership roles, and I actually just started my brokerage 2 years ago, about the
Yeah.
same time that I actually took on this leadership role at ARIA.
Yeah.
So I think I've just definitely gotten better at learning how to work with people, lead people,
Yeah.
communicate better. My speaking skills have definitely improved drastically. I never had the opportunity to give so many speeches, all and be on stage all the time. So it's great practice, and definitely I've drastically expanded my network as
I'm
well.
sure.
Traveling around to, we have 46 chapters,
Oh, wow.
18,000 members. So just going to all these chapter events around the country, it was a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
But it was very rewarding because I got to meet agents
Yeah.
all around the country. And
That's
so,
awesome.
build my referral network and everything.
Absolutely. That's the biggest byproduct I've ever gotten from serving is just the amount of referrals and, connections like you that you just meet over time and, kind of start a little side business relationship. So,
Exactly.
so we got about 9 questions, nothing crazy today, but, I am intrigued because you started when you were 20
Yes.
and you closed a couple deals before you even graduated. Like I started at 22 and it was hard as hell. Like, how did you find opportunities at such a young age to buy and sell houses?
Yeah, so I got my license when I was 20 years old, like you mentioned, and at the time I was still an undergrad at UCLA. So I was finishing up my last year at UCLA. I had always thought that, well, maybe I didn't think that, but my parents are like both PhDs, engineers,
Yeah.
very, very studious and all about higher education and graduate degrees. So they were like, you got to either, choose doctor, lawyer, engineer,
Right.
the typical Chinese parents. And so I decided that I wanted to maybe go into law. I wasn't really sure. And I had studied environmental science. I was working at a law firm. I did my LSATs, all my law school application,
Dang.
all of that, because I just kind of followed the path that my parents kind of chose for
Yeah.
me. And then I got my real estate license really for fun. At the time, this is kind of embarrassing, but Million Dollar Listing had just aired on
Yeah.
Bravo. And I was like, this is a pretty fun, interesting show. And at the time, the first season, they would actually teach about the real estate transactions
Yeah.
instead of just all about drama. And I realized like these agents, I would see their open house signs right outside the UCLA campus when I'm like driving around, going to eat lunch and stuff. And I was like, this is happening literally outside my doorsteps. So I was like, this is really cool. Maybe I'll just get my license for fun and just kind of
Yeah.
see what it is. Maybe I can close a couple of transactions. And I did end up closing two or three transactions before I graduated. So that kind of like really was awesome at the time because I had been working at the law firm for like 12.50 an hour, as an assistant. I never
Right.
had a real job, but like I got a big paycheck for the first time, and I was like, I
Yeah.
want to do this instead of taking out a loan to pay for law school tuition and all of
Right.
that. So like that's kind of how I fast forward 14 years, I'm still here. But at the beginning, you're right. It was definitely really hard because you can imagine when I was 20 years old, I looked about 15. And, obviously I didn't have any friends or family that were buying homes yet. And nobody knew that I was a real estate agent and whatnot. But That was back in 2012. And at the time, real estate agents really were barely on the internet or on
Right.
social media. That was very, very new to everyone. Even Zillow and Trulia at the time were like kind of new, and agents were like against it, and didn't want
Yeah.
to use it. So my first couple of leads I just got from the internet. So like Trulia used to have this feature called like questions and answers
Oh
where
yeah. I
remember
forgot
that?
about that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so consumers could just go in there and like ask questions about purchasing or whatever. And so a consumer asked a question, I answered their question, they reached out to me, and then that ended up being my first sale. It was like a 200 something $1,000 one bedroom condo. Then I think the next one, like I got from realtor.com. And, I think I just got lucky on that one because I filled out my complete profile. I
Yeah.
put all the information, I put all the languages I spoke. And then somebody that was looking for someone that spoke Chinese contacted me. So I think that was my second lead. And then
Dang.
from there, I started like really believing in the power of the internet. My broker at the time kept saying, you can't sell homes from behind the computer. You got to go hit the streets. You got to go door knock, meet people,
That's
blah, blah, blah.
funny.
And I was like, okay, but I was shy. I was 20 years old. So I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just going to see what I can do on the internet. So I started blogging. So you probably also remember Active
Active
Rain.
rain. Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah. So
right.
I started vlogging on Active Rain. I also made my own like blog spot. And I just started going around town and visiting open houses and brokers opens and just kind of blogging about what I saw out there, the
Yeah.
houses on the market. And one series that I did was like introducing different condo buildings around LA because a lot of
Yeah.
these buildings are like they're full service, they have doormen, a lot of amenities. So I would take pictures, low quality at the time, but I would
Sure.
take pictures of all the building, the units, and just kind of give a rundown of like what the building included, what the price ranges were. And I started getting leads from that too. So I kind of like doubled down after that and just started going full in on like all types of social
Dang.
media basically. But kind of like different, obviously different platforms back then.
Sure, sure. No doubt. I didn't realize you were that tech
I feel
savvy
like
back in
I'm
the day.
aging myself now.
You are. You are. Um, so what did your family and friends think when you're like, hey, cool, law school not going? Because I actually did the same thing. I was thinking about going to law school.
Yeah.
Like, how'd they handle that? And when did they kind of go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you actually are doing really well in this. You should have done this. Or have they?
Yeah, it took me a couple years, I think. My parents at first were definitely like, no way. Like, you're going to
Yeah.
do a commission job, you know what I mean? That's not stable.
Right.
In their eyes, I was becoming like a car salesman, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, they just thought like, there's no way this is going to be sustainable. Like, why
Right.
did you even go to UCLA? Kind of thing. So they were definitely not supportive, and they're like, if you're gonna do this, we're not gonna pay for your rent. We're gonna cut you off, basically. You're on your own. So I think that kind of like lit the fire under me too,
Right.
because I was like, it's kind of like do or die.
Sure.
So that made me work extra hard, but it definitely took a few years, I think, when I started making more money, obviously, when I got the NAR 30 on 30
Yeah.
award, and eventually I think I started making more money than both of my parents,
Right.
right? So then they're like, okay, maybe we can do this sustainably in the long term.
That's awesome. I got a question for the $1 million listing stuff. Now looking back and
Yeah.
like you are who could be on that show, like what do you think about everybody that watches that? Like what do you wish they knew about that, you know? Like 'cause I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of misconceptions out there, but I'm just curious what you think.
Absolutely, yeah. I've actually been on the show a couple of times just for like snippets. Like
Sure.
they've invited me to film a couple of times, and it's funny because you film for like an hour or two, and then you're like on there for 10, 15 seconds, because they cut it all down. But what I wish everyone knew that although it is reality TV and these characters are
Right.
real, like most of these storylines are not real. And when you go and film this, they actually do give you direction. They're like, walk in from here, stop over here, smile, like, look over here and make a joke, and then go over, do it again and again and again. So although it's not scripted per se, like we're not actors with lines,
Right.
they do still give you kind of an idea of the
Hmm.
storyline they're trying to push and like the drama that they're trying to create or whatever it is in that episode. And I think like I had mentioned in the first earlier seasons, they actually did like teach a lot of things, which I liked. They
Yeah.
would say like, this is the commission, or this is what the agent's now going to negotiate this, or something like that. And it was
Yeah.
more realistic. But definitely over the years, the Hollywood aspect of it kind of came in, and it's now, I think like very, very unrealistic.
Right.
And even some of the properties that like close on the show, that if you look it up online, it's like they never actually closed, or like sometimes
Oh,
they have like paid actors pretend to be the seller because the seller doesn't actually want to appear on TV and things like that. So you can't believe what you see, but it's definitely like a fun show to watch if you treat it like,
for
reality
sure.
TV.
Was
Yeah.
there any like anything funny that happened while you're on the show or doing your snippets? Like anything just
Yeah, one time I did like a episode with Josh Flagg, and it was like a broker's open house, and they just invited a bunch of agents to kind of come through and
yeah.
film a couple of scenes with Josh. And then I don't know why the producer thought this would be funny, but like basically like the house had a okay view, but Josh was saying like it's the best view ever, but it wasn't like that good.
Right.
So he was like, "Oh, you're really funny because you're wearing like tall heels. Like, what if you like got up and stood on this like couch chair and then be like, oh, I could see the view, but only from here." Well, he made me do that scene like 5 times, and it was like so unnatural, and I felt so awkward. And then, of course, it wasn't even on the show, but
Yeah, trying to
it was
paint you as like an
hilarious.
evil person, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
that's awesome. Change a little bit of gears, but like you said, you started a company 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think every successful agent should like create a product or a system? Like, so many people, like, I mean, obviously I have a company as well, but like people are always trying to create this or that. A lot of people in our networks, like, we have a new CRM we just made, try it out. Do you think that's part of being a successful agent, or do you think that's just people that don't have too much time on their hands?
Think only if you want it to be,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there that are innovative and they want to have their own business and they have ideas. And I think that's great because I think that practitioners and top producing agents are the ones that know like what is
Sure.
needed,
Yeah.
right? But I think that you definitely don't have to build a product. You don't have to start a brokerage or do anything like that. Obviously in our 30 under 30 network, we know a lot of practitioners that are solo practitioners for life
Yeah.
and never wanted a team,
Yep.
an assistant or anything. They're like, I just want to be a solo practitioner with my TC or my VA or whatever. And that's it. And that's totally fine too. And that's something that took me like many years to decide if I wanted to do or not. Because a lot of people, started talking to me about starting a team. And even after I received the 30 under 30 award, going to the masterminds and hearing everyone else, I'm like, maybe I need to have this too,
Right. Yeah.
I wanted to like do it for so many years, but I wasn't really 100% sure. So I think like you really have to be 100% sure you are committed to it and that's something you
Hmm.
want to do because it's definitely a totally different thing than working on your own, being accountable for training
Yeah.
and mentoring and all these agents. And but I think like it just depends on what your overall goals are. Some people always want to grow and do more, and some people are like, actually, like I would be happier if I was able to vacation more and spend more time
Right.
with my family and kids, and that's totally fine too.
Yeah, no, I envy those people that can find like happiness, and I don't think it's complacency. I think it's just they found their thing. Like, I'm good, I'm great.
Yeah,
I wish I could find that box to sit in, but I'm always like, let's do this, let's try that, and
yeah,
it
me
doesn't
too. I
always
just
work out.
always feel like no matter what I get to, there's always another step further that people are ahead, and I'm like, there's always something to work towards. So it's hard to just feel complacent, but maybe
Yeah,
someday we'll feel that way.
I hope. I really do hope. Maybe therapy will help that.
Yeah.
So real quick, going back, what like when you're starting out? Because I have a soft spot for younger agents because obviously, just like you, like we started pretty young, hard, don't have a network, don't have like the reach that a lot of people do. So like, what's the hardest part do you think in starting the industry when there's so many experienced agents out there, right? Like you said, $1 million listing had open house signs right outside your school, so obviously people could go find them real quick. So
Yeah.
what do you think the hardest part was about that?
Yeah. I think like it's really important for the agents to understand, especially as a brand new agent, that it's really about the relationship building and the connections, the human
Yeah.
connection, right? I think they think like, oh, I don't have any listings, I don't have any lead, I don't know what to do. But you have an entire network of people who know you, your friends
Mhm.
and family that trust you already. And a lot of my new agents are shy and they're like, oh, well, I don't want to like just start posting about real estate. It's so
Right.
awkward. I don't want to push it in their face. All my new agents, I'm like, okay, start posting on social media, start saying that you're a real estate agent. They're like, okay, but I want to make a new account, a new real estate. And I'm like, okay, but there's no followers on that account, and
Right.
all your friends and family follow you on your current account.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I don't want to spam them and be annoying or too advertising. I'm like, okay, but that means that no one knows that you're an agent and they're never gonna know.
Right.
Right? So it's like I think they don't realize that like they have clients in their own network if they just connect with them,
Correct.
show them that they're knowledgeable, show them that they're active, and be consistent about it. But I get it. It's hard to wrap your head around. It's kind of like awkward to make that
Yep,
first post, you know, and
for
then,
sure.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting how so many people have that same mindset. Like, I don't want them to know like I'm bothering them. Like, well, you're not gonna get paid then. Like, if they don't know you're in real estate, how are you gonna? You're a secret agent. like, you can't do these things, and
Exactly.
they still don't do it half the time.
Plus, if they're like bothered by your post, they're probably not a really good friend or friend. You know, like your friends and family should support you when you're doing something
Right.
new.
No doubt.
So, yeah.
So, if you had to guess or choose, what do you think your real estate superpower is?
I think that I'm like able to read people really well and kind of be like a chameleon. So once I kind of figure out their communication style, their personality, I don't think it's fake per se, because I think
Right.
that I'm still able to be genuine and authentic, but I think I'm able to kind of adapt myself to their kind of style, you
Yeah.
know, whatever they like to do, and then make them feel more comfortable and connect with me. And then that's kind of like how I build that human connection that I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's great. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one before, but you're right. Like, you got to just kind of mimic them, right? Mimic their, well, it's a little redundant, but yes, you've got to figure out how they're going to be wanting to be talked to. And some people even tell you, like, if they're crossing their arms, cross your arms. I'm like, I don't take it that far, but yeah, you
Yeah.
want to feel comfortable about it. All right. So if you had an agent come, one of your agents come to you and they're like, hey, I haven't had a deal in a while. I need to make some money in the next 90 days. What would you, even if it's hardcore, like, what would your advice be to get them going and be profitable in about 90 days?
Yeah, I would say I would do like a three-prong approach. So number one would be social media for sure. I'd say like post at least two or three videos and something every single week
Hmm.
consistently, like whatever schedule you decide to commit to, whether it's two videos, one post, or whatever it is, do
Right.
it every single week, number one, so that everyone in your personal sphere, do it on your personal Instagram, don't make a new one, right? Do it on
Right.
your personal Instagram, Facebook, and accounts, and make sure everyone in your sphere knows constantly that you're reminded that you're an agent. Number two, I would be doing open houses every single weekend. I would be asking, you know, agents for open house opportunities and being out there every single weekend. And when I'm doing the open houses, I'd make content about it too. And then last but not least, I would join some sort of like community event, network, a church, whether it's a volunteer group, a church, whatever,
Right.
a bicycle club, anything that meets regularly, and
Right.
then do that every single week or every single 2 weeks or every month or whatever it is, and then continue that. And if you do all three of those things, I think that within 90 days, you should be able to find a deal if you're actually doing it every single week and doing it.
That's the kicker, right? Everybody shows
Yeah,
up for about a week. It's the ninth week when you got to really go put the effort in.
yeah.
All right. So I always like to ask this question. If you could only have three contacts in your phone, who would they be?
Yeah, so I mean, as a brand new agent, you mean I think
Yeah.
I number one, definitely my broker or office manager, my mentor, because you
Right.
would need their help with transactions. Number two, you need a really, really good lender, somebody that can help you with your clients' loans. And then last but not least, ideally like someone who's like a connector,
Right.
right? We all have like friends who, you know, when you go to an event or something, they're introducing you to everyone. They just seem to know everyone.
Yep.
Those are the people that you need to have in your Rolodex because they're the ones who are going to introduce you to clients.
That's a good one. Absolutely. If somebody came to you today and said, hey, I want to get into real estate, what do you think they need to know before they get into it? Because I think so many people out there like $1 million listings saying how great it is and you can do this, and but nobody knows till they get in it. So what would you wish people knew?
Well, I think the first most important thing is that you have to understand that you're an independent contractor and you're running your own business. Whether or not you have a broker, a team leader, you know, whatever, you have to be accountable for your own time every single day. It's not the same as a job where you submit a timesheet and you record what you're doing every hour and then you get paid no matter what at the end of the week. You know, every day you have to wake up, be accountable for your own actions and do the things that you plan to do to lead generate. And it's
Yeah.
really hard to do, even for myself every single day and for you, I'm sure, right? Like
Yes.
some days you wake up and you don't have to answer to anyone and you technically don't have to do anything. So
Right.
you just don't want to some days, but you have to do something every single day and every single week in order to build that pipeline and have leads. So I think that's the most important thing is that like and there's no instant gratification. It's actually very delayed gratification,
Yeah.
right? You have to put in all this work first, and there's no sign of a paycheck for a while. and it can be very discouraging. So you
Yep.
have to be able to like be accountable for yourself, stay motivated, and kind of be like a self-starter because you can't rely on anyone else in this business.
For sure. And I think that's one of the biggest things. I always like to ask new agents when they're asking me what they should do is like, where do you think business comes from? Where are you going to find it? And they're like, I don't know. And I was like, why are you getting into a profession you don't even know how to find? And I didn't know the answer either. I wish somebody would ask me that because I probably wouldn't have gotten into real estate if they asked me that. But I think having that eagerness to get in there sometimes can overcome those questions. But yeah, it's hard. And I think people need to know that.
I think new agents think that, being a real estate agent is showing houses and, negotiating,
Yeah.
which it is, of course. But the biggest part of being a real estate agent is finding business,
Yes.
right? Like the easiest part is closing the deal. The hardest part is finding a lead.
Yeah.
And if you don't focus like most of your time on lead generation, then you can't have a like successful business. You might just be an agent that does a few deals here or there,
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, that's our time. I didn't want to take up all afternoon, so I just want to ask the really important questions so we can get them out of there. And for the people listening, we'll have your social media, which is a phenomenal social media, by the way. I think you take a lot of time to really curate what you're doing. So I have all that in the links below so they can send you referrals or ask you questions or maybe not even ask you questions. You might not want that to happen. So you may take off the DMs. You may get blown up. But thanks for taking your time and doing this. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.